Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com, dwyersportsbetting.com. Remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. You know what? Forget what you've heard from many gamblers about the value being drained from the futures market in NFL sports betting. Right? Don't believe them. Believe your own two eyes. It'll tell you a different story. At least it should. We're about to embark on week 17 of the NFL season. Right? Week 17. But yet the futures market has some staggering values. Staggering. And understand, a futures position is really just an opportunity to hedge. You're not picking the teams to win the Super Bowl. Right? At least that's not your primary goal here. Your primary goal is to get great leverage on the casino so you can hedge the play. So if you have a good team at 10-1 odds and they're playing a tough opponent, you can put a couple of bucks on the opponent, right? Knowing that you have 10-1 leverage on the other side of the play, right? The best bets are the plays where you make a profit regardless of which team wins. View this like you would view a hedge fund. So, the Washington Redskins are playing at home against the New York Giants week 17. They're heavily favored in the game. I believe the line is more than a touchdown in the Redskins' direction. Las Vegas expects the Redskins to win the game. I expect the Redskins to win the game. If you're going to bet on the game, don't fool around with the huge point spread. Just take the Redskins on a money line. But my point to you is the Redskins, who, if they win, are in the playoffs. Right? Think about it. If they win a game that they're heavily favored in, they're in the playoffs. Right now, Vegas is offering you 80-1 odds. That's right. Not 18-1, 80-1 odds on the Washington Redskins to win the whole thing. I think you need to put at least $1 on that. Let's think it through. Redskins beat the Giants. They enter as the lowest seed in the NFC. They then play the 3 seed, right? The highest seeded team playing the first week of the playoffs. That would be Seattle. A team without safety Earl Thomas, a Pro Bowler, missing from their secondary. A team that just lost at home to divisional rival Arizona, a team that did not make the playoffs. Look at the number of points scored in that game. Now think about it. Seattle, with a depleted secondary, would be going up against 4,000-yard passer Kirk Cousins. I want you to look at Kirk Cousins' quarterback rating. I want you to look at Kirk Cousins' touchdown to interceptions ratio. Right? Seattle isn't the same team that they were with Earl Thomas. They were unbeaten at home, believe it or not, until they lost to Arizona. So, an argument can be made that the Redskins, who are playing pretty good football, should they beat the Giants, might have a shot on the Seahawks. In any event, if you get 80-1 on the Redskins, right? Let's say you bet $1 on the Redskins. So you have a chance at winning 80 if the Redskins run the table. When the Redskins travel across country to play Seattle, you could put $10 on Seattle. Right? If Seattle wins the game, you've made a nice profit. Right? You only bet $1 on the Redskins, $10 on Seattle. Let's say take out the VIG and the fact that Seattle's favored in the game, and you're probably clearing what? $4 in the transaction? Right? Easy win. You're clearing more money in profit than you would bet on the Redskins at 80-1. Let's say the Redskins beat Seattle in the first round of the playoffs. Now you're cooking with gas, because the Redskins, who've already played the Cowboys tough, would travel to Dallas to play the Cowboys in Dallas. Understand, Redskins were in the playoffs last year. Kirk Cousins has playoff experience. Dak Prescott wasn't in the league last year. Right? Not in the league. Nor was his running back, Ezekiel Elliott. I know these guys are good. There just isn't a lot of history of rookie quarterbacks doing well in the playoffs. Has anyone else noticed that Dez Bryant didn't have 1,000 yards receiving? Folks, Dez Bryant didn't have 900 yards receiving this year. Right? If any team knows the Cowboys, it would be the Washington Redskins, wouldn't it? In any event, you're still dealing with huge leverage. Right? And so there again, you could put a bunch of money on the Dallas Cowboys. If the Cowboys beat the Redskins as expected, you still profit from the transaction. Why? Because you're hedged. Because you had the common sense to take the Redskins right here before the last week of the season at 80-1 odds. Let's talk about another leverage play you might want to consider. Green Bay is playing great football right now. Great football. Who knows? Maybe they run the table. The public has been on Green Bay since day one because everyone knows their quarterback, right? Aaron Rodgers. Well, Green Bay's on the road. The line is 3.5. They're playing Detroit in Detroit. Now, understand, the winner of this game wins the NFC North. So they actually play at home their first playoff game. Think about it. At home. Well, would it shock you to know here, week 17 of the NFL, that Detroit is 40-1 on the futures market? Huge leverage, 40-1. Right? So my point to you is, if you have money already on Green Bay to win it all, or if you're hoping Green Bay wins it all, why not put $1 on the other side of the play? You don't have to bet on Detroit to win this game. Just put $1 on Detroit on the futures market. If Green Bay wins, great. You know, your prior play hits and your team goes on. But if Green Bay loses, don't you want to know that you have a hedgeable position at 40 times leverage? Right? With a team that's actually playing at home the first week of the playoffs? For those digging deeper, they'd be playing the New York Giants. Understand, I'm a Giants fan, right? I go back with the Giants to the 1970s. But if you're a stat guy, right, you would look at the Giants stats and you would say, gee, this is almost like the Oakland Raiders, right? The stats don't show team dominance, right? This is a team with more wins than you would expect on the stats that they have, right? Giants really can't run the football that well, can they? Let's talk about coaching experience. Jim Caldwell, Detroit's coach, has been deep in the playoffs. Ben McAdoo, oh, that's right, this is his first year as head coach of the Giants. Now, I have futures money on the Giants, right, from months ago. But rest assured that for me, that's not enough. If you're going to give me 40-1 on a possible opponent of the Giants in the playoffs, an opponent who would be playing at home, then I almost have to take it, right? Because you want to view it as insurance. You want to make sure that regardless of who wins the game, you're still alive going forward. Let's talk about one final team. And this team's been playing lights out football. Lights out football. Right? This team has a quarterback who statistically is having one of the best seasons of his career this year. In fact, he's having one of the best seasons of any quarterback this year. Right? This team plays a team week 17 that's below 500. And if they win against a sub 500 team that they know it's a divisional opponent, then they're the 2 seed in the NFC. The 2 seed. If that happens, understand mathematically they can't lose the first week of the playoffs because they'd have a bye. The second week of the playoffs, they'd be playing at home, where the starting quarterback has a great record. And that's the Atlanta Falcons. Now, I know most of the world is getting hot and bothered over teams like the New England Patriots, right? The Dallas Cowboys, right? We're contrarians here. We're looking for value. I don't want to pay full price. I want things at a discount. I want leverage. Think about it. The Atlanta Falcons today, this late, after this good a season, the Falcons, who all they have to do is win their last game against the Saints to be the 2 seed in the NFC. Right? If Dallas loses their first game, hell, the NFC Championship game gets played in Atlanta. On the futures market, you're getting Atlanta right here, right before week 17 at 10-1 odds. 10-1. Right? My point to you is you're crazy. You are crazy if you don't put at least a couple dollars down on Atlanta at 10-1. Right? Think it through. Atlanta beats New Orleans, a team against who they're favored by something like 6 points. Atlanta beats New Orleans. Then you're sitting back with 10-1 leverage. 10-1 leverage, and your team doesn't even play until the second round. Worse yet, let's say you don't believe in Atlanta. Let's say you're looking at Julio Jones and you're saying, you know, I'm just not convinced by this guy's more than 1,300 receiving yards. Right? That 300 receiving yard game earlier this year just hasn't convinced me. You're looking at Devonta Freeman. You're looking at all of his numbers. You're looking at Matt Ryan's numbers. And let's say you're firmly unconvinced. Well, think about it. You're getting a team at 10-1 that would literally be 3 games away from a Super Bowl championship. If they win 2, they're in the Super Bowl. Right? This is easy hedging. Keep in mind, too, since they're playing at home, think about it. If you're going to hedge, Atlanta would likely be the favorite. So it'd be even easier to hedge because you'd be hedging by picking the other team who would be the underdog at greater than even money odds. Right? So take a look at the futures window. Many gamblers, many hardcore gamblers are going to say, oh, don't play futures. The value is gone from futures. Look, you're not trying to pick winners. You're trying to pick positions you can hedge. Right? The futures window is where you should head first. That's where you're going to get 80-1 on the Redskins, a team that's in the playoffs if they win. 40-1 on the Lions, a team that's in the playoffs if they win and host a playoff game. And 10-1 on the Falcons, a team that gets a bye in the playoffs if they win week 17. Right? Even in late December, today's the 27th, the futures market offers compelling value. It's worth a look. If you have other betting ideas that you want to share with the public, I hope you do so in the comments section to this video. Let's try to get an edge on the casino. Thanks for stopping by.